everybody. Welcome to Generation Gap. I'm your host, Gretchen, joined as always by my co-host, Tom.
And I'm Tom, joined as always by my co-host, Gretchen.
And today we're talking about a movie that celebrates its 40th anniversary this year, Top Gun. So this is a special one because we both went to see this in theaters. In my case, it was not the first time I've seen it, but this was Tom's first viewing of Top Gun somehow.
I know. And I consider myself a film buff. But I'm very selective.
I didn't give you a choice.
Yeah.
Really.
No. We had to correct. How'd you say? We have to write that wrong? Or
yeah, well,
something?
you can't. I can't.
You have to correct it?
I can't let you have gone your life without seeing that film.
No. I'm glad I did, honestly. I don't know if I would have appreciated it as much in 1986, which is when it was at theaters and when I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I also have to say that I'm just not, like when everyone says, like Star Wars, just a perfect example. 1977, everyone was saying, you got to see this movie. There was so much hype. There were really people like, it was the first time I remember people like waiting outdoors on lines to go see it. And that just turns me away. Like, I'm like, I don't want to be like everyone else. I'm not going to see it. So I didn't even see that in 77. That was the summer of Smokey and the Bandit for me.
Oh, right. Yeah, my best friend Burt Reynolds.
I know. But I would rather have seen that, you know what I mean? Like, I just didn't want to be part of the crowd, you know? Like,
and, yeah, there were definitely better movies in 1986.
Oh, yeah.
To watch.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that.
Right.
But.
And it didn't really appeal to me. And at the time, I mean, it's hard to believe, but I even made a list of the films Tom Cruise had done before this. You know, that was not enough to bring me into a theater.
That's
like
fair.
Tom Cruise.
Fair.
Oh, you mean the guy that was in Risky Business?
Fair.
All right.
Fair.
You know.
Top Gun was directed by Tony Scott. It was a pretty big hit that year. The cast obviously includes Tom Cruise, who we already mentioned, Kelly McGillis, Val Kilmer, Anthony Edwards, Tom Skerritt, with appearances by Rick Rossovich, Michael Ironside, and who am I missing?
A lot of people.
I was like, who were we just talking about?
Did you say Meg Ryan?
Oh, I did not mention. Yep, Meg Ryan's in this, and James
Tolkien,
Tolkien, who just passed.
Yes. Sadly, at the age of 94. Good life. Also had Adrian Pasdar.
Didn't mention him.
Yep. Who was in Near Dark.
Oh.
Another film we like.
Yeah.
Right. We should do something on that one time. For people who haven't seen that, it was basically who else was in that? It's got our favorites, Bill Paxton.
Why can't I think of his name? I love him. Lance Henriksen.
Lance Henriksen, exactly. It's basically the cast from Aliens.
Minus
and even the girl, Jeanette Goldstein, I think her name is. Yeah. Great film.
But we're not here to talk about Near Dark. We're
not here to talk about Near Dark. Right. Yeah.
Top Gun is loosely a movie about
more or less
naval aviators.
Yeah.
Specifically, the ones selected the best of the best to enter Top Gun. That's the Naval Aviating Training Academy. In this case, it's kind of like a dog-eat-dog like rise to the top. Who's going to be the top of the class for this group? You've got Tom Cruise and Anthony Edwards as Maverick and Goose, who are top contenders for that slot. And you've also got Val Kilmer and Rick Rossovich as Iceman and Slider, who are kind of like the other
top
two. They're the other
they're
big
the competition, basically. Yeah.
So
they were great in that.
And
Val Kilmer, I liked, in that role.
Val Kilmer didn't want to be there.
He didn't want to be there, right? We can get into that more, but I mean, he really. He was good. He's such a good actor that he's fits every role.
Yes.
He really played that well.
Maverick very much fits the bill of like what was honestly it was like the playmaker for what was going to be the standard Tom Cruise role for the next like 10 years of his career.
Yeah.
He's
and still today.
Less so.
No, you think Mission Impossible?
Have you not seen the last like 4?
No, I haven't.
Well then,
I probably shouldn't speak about films I haven't seen.
He's a rebellious hotshot who's too good at what he does. The biggest problem is he doesn't listen to instructions.
Yeah.
But I will say, in this case, spoilers for a movie that's 40 years old, he does get a reality check.
Yeah.
The other big players in this, Kelly McGillis plays Charlie. She's an instructor of Top Gun. She also ends up being Maverick's love interest. I have beef with that, but that's beside the point.
Right.
The biggest problem with this is there's no real story or structure to this until the last third. The first 2/3 of it are pretty, I'm going to say pretty fun, pretty light.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a...
It's a popcorn film.
Yeah, up until the point where Maverick gets the reality check when a terrible training accident kills his backseater Goose.
Right.
That's kind of the moment where he has to figure out the rest of the film if he's going to bounce back from that or if he's going to let that define and end his career.
Right.
Concerning the fact that we are living in a world where there's a Top Gun 2, I think we can all assume that
not a spoiler to say he sticks with it.
Yeah, he comes back.
Yeah.
This was not my first viewing, so I'm gonna take the back seat for a minute. Tom, what was your initial response to Top Gun?
Yeah, I obviously it wasn't on the top of my list because I haven't seen it in the last 40 years. But I felt like, and you kind of pointed out that it was almost an oversight that I should check out this film, certainly before we talk about it. But I really did enjoy it, even with my misgivings. I found myself entertained. I mean, it was sort of what I expected. Again, not much of a plot, although the plot essentially was they were competing against each other, for that top spot. You don't need too much more than that. And then the sort of, to me, it was almost just a thrown in love story on the side.
Yeah.
But it was entertaining. Like I said, it was definitely a popcorn film. A good summer film. To just sit back and eat your popcorn and just enjoy the scenes.
Definitely.
It was well filmed, I thought.
Yeah, it was well shot.
Yeah. And I learned a few things which I would never have known or cared to know.
Did you learn them from my dad, or did you learn?
Well, from your dad for sure. Yeah, more from your dad than from the film, actually. Yeah. In fact, I learned some things that really weren't right in the film, which was interesting.
My dad's a big Navy buff, so he had a lot of
little gripes and
a couple little
quibbles,
things to point out. Yeah,
which was interesting. Yeah.
So, Top Gun's response, it wasn't an award winner by any stretch of the imagination. No. The release
and it didn't care.
No,
you could tell it didn't care. And I'm sure Tom Cruise didn't care.
But it was the highest grossing film of 1986.
Yeah. Which is something.
It was
a year with a lot, and there was a lot of good films.
Aliens was that year. Yeah, there was
also right. Yeah.
It was 6 months before the theater count dropped below its opening week.
Wow.
It was number one on its first weekend with a gross of $8.2 million.
Which doesn't sound like a big deal today.
No, but 1986 was a good chunk of change.
40 years ago, that's really big. Yeah.
And we both saw it recently on its 40th anniversary re-release.
Yep.
Where it probably earned another boatload.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure.
I also, it's a little thing, I'm going to just say outright that this is my favorite soundtrack of the 1980s. And some of my favorite soundtracks in the 1980s are not big hits. Valley Girl is one of my favorite soundtracks in the 1980s. Yeah. This is up there. There's not a single skipper on this playlist, except Take My Breath Away. That song is...
That one you don't like it?
Not played 4 times in the same movie.
Well, I know, and you're right, and it's played repeatedly. Yeah, little snippets of it. But that was also the big hit.
I had no
problem. It won the Oscar, too, didn't it?
Oh, it might have.
It was certainly nominated, yeah.
I think it did. I pretty much had it with that song by the end of it.
Yeah.
This was a big step for a lot of people's careers. A lot of the people in this cast weren't big deals yet, or they were on their way.
Well, specifically Tom Cruise. Let's talk just for a moment about.
Sure.
I wrote down some of the films he had been in before that. So you had Endless Love, right? Small part for him. That was his first. That was his debut. Taps, which I really did like.
He was good in Taps.
Although he's not a major part of it. But that had George C. Scott, Timothy Hutton, Sean Penn, Ronnie Cox. But I did like that film. I thought it was a good premise, too. Well done. And he was also very good in it.
Yeah. He's got the Big Four in 83.
Yeah. And then he did Losing It, which is completely forgettable, with Shelley Long and Rick Rossovich again.
I did hear that.
Yeah. Then The Outsiders, which I loved. We should probably do it.
We got to do The Outsiders.
Yeah, we got to do that. That was a great film.
Risky Business.
Risky Business, right? Yep. You know all of them?
Well, it's that one and then All the Right Moves.
All the Right Moves,
So,
exactly,
controversial opinion, I think All the Right Moves is his best young career work.
Oh, yeah. I only saw it at the time, and you know what it made me feel? I did like it, but it made me feel like, boy, I want to be an actor, because you could really be anything.
Yeah.
You could play football, you could play hockey if you want, and you could be great. You could write the script where you win the game,
That's true.
And you don't have to really go through all the trials and tribulations of becoming a professional football player. And you could be a Top Gun pilot.
That's true.
Yeah, really pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
You could beat Paul Newman playing pool.
You
could really do anything. Anyway, so he, so those were the films. And Legend.
Yes. That's how we ended up here, actually.
Right, yeah.
Because Tony Scott, director of Top Gun, is brother of Ridley Scott, director of Legend.
Right, yeah. Isn't that funny? So he wasn't really a big star by any means at that point.
He definitely made waves with Risky Business.
Yeah,
Like,
that
he
was
on his
popular,
way.
right?
He was on his way.
Yeah, right. But then he
But this made him.
right. This definitely made him.
And after this, he did The Color of Money this same year with Paul Newman, as you mentioned.
Right.
I will say this for young Tom Cruise, especially, he knew how to pick. Like once he could pick,
Oh yeah,
he knew how.
I know. I looked through his whole filmography, and it was just all good choices, one after another. And
if the worst thing on your filmography is Cocktail, you're still doing.
I was just gonna say, well, maybe Cocktail.
If that's his worst,
it's
that's
right,
not
exactly.
bad.
And that had a great soundtrack, and that's popular, and people started flipping their glasses. Everyone who worked at a bar started doing it.
Yeah.
So it was influential, whether it was good or not. But he, there was a lot of. It just seemed like he was so confident. Like you could tell, like his real life persona was that character.
The impression I always got from hearing even his early work, especially like now, he's predominantly defined by his stunt work,
right?
And his commitment to film, which I respect.
I do too, and I give him credit for that because if I was in his position, that's what I would be doing.
Yeah,
My whole
I
life,
respect what he's doing. I respected what he did with Top Gun Maverick too.
Right.
But at this point, early in his work, he was really. I've heard his entire career he's defined by being a really hard worker.
Yeah.
He just wanted it to be a good product.
Yeah, again, you could see that. Yeah.
So,
and he's just got that type of personality, type A, driven.
He was younger than me when he did Top Gun as well, and
hard to believe,
yeah, and like the effort that he went into like acting in that is credible considering the fact that, like I said, he was younger than I am.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
And he's my age.
Yes.
And
he's a little bit better shape than you.
A little bit, financially, and physically. Yes. But that was also a big year for me because that was the year I got married.
That's
so
pretty, that's
yeah.
pretty
So
solid.
we both were on the
top of the game.
Yeah, we both were on the upswing.
But Tony Scott.
And what's he done with his life? What's he done since then?
Tom Cruise, nothing.
Nothing.
This was, I think, Tony Scott's real biggest hit. He had Top Gun. He did The Hunger a couple years prior.
Right.
He did The Last Boy Scout, which I've seen.
Yeah, which I enjoyed.
That's okay.
Another popcorn type
He
film.
did Crimson Tide.
Yeah.
He did The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
He did...
The remake of it. Yeah, I like the original. Yeah.
He did Enemy of the State. And he did Days of Thunder, which is essentially Top Gun with race cars.
Right. That could have been another misstep, in my opinion. Although it worked for him.
I kind of like that movie because
did you see? I didn't care for that one. Yeah, but didn't that also have Robert Duvall?
It did.
It did, right?
It did.
I always liked him.
And oh man,
I can't remember.
Lost his name.
Yeah.
Oh, he's Jan doing Guardians of the Galaxy. I do this every time.
Oh, yeah.
He was in Tombstone.
Yes. What is his name? I'm drawing a blank on it too, but I like him.
I know.
He's a good actor too.
Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker, right. Yeah.
I knew he'd get there. But the rest of the cast also had, again, a lot of these names would be big in the future, but they weren't necessarily huge right now.
Right.
Val Kilmer had done Top Secret and Real Genius.
Yeah.
But this was the movie that put him on the map as well.
Yeah, even though he didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Val Kilmer, we've talked about before in Tombstone. We've mentioned that he was a fantastic actor, especially when he was given the right project.
He was kind of a method actor. I hate to just label him as a method actor, but he kind of was. He got into his roles.
And he was very good, except for this one. He really didn't do anything for this. In fact, he anti-prepared for this.
Yeah. But he was still good. And I liked also that, we'll get more into the story, I guess, but I liked that he started off very arrogant. He didn't really, definitely didn't, he was almost like a villain in the beginning, or at least the antagonist, kind of.
Maybe antagonist,
But you liked him quickly.
Yeah.
Like, he did become a decent guy, or was always a decent guy.
Yeah.
I thought when I first saw it, I thought for sure they could have made him...
They could have made him a villain.
They could have made him really bad, like not even rooting for the team, like almost maybe even sabotaging it a little.
Yeah.
Just to make himself look better.
Yeah, no,
but
he's up
he
and up.
didn't. He's definitely an up-and-up guy, yeah, which I liked.
Anthony
I
Edwards...
thought it was going to be a little more cartoonish.
Yeah, well, that's one it's not.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards is Goose in this. This is his best, I think, his best and biggest.
Yeah, for sure.
I knew he was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I knew he was in Revenge of the Nerds. He's one of those guys I'm like, I know he's in other stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a ton. His career wasn't as...
No. Not his film career. Better television stuff, probably.
And I think he's been in theater a bit, too. You have Tom Skerritt, who's had a very long and very prestigious career.
Speaking of Alien.
Yeah, he was in Alien.
He's 92 years old now.
He was in MASH. He was in The Dead Zone.
Yep.
And The Turning Point, among other projects.
Yeah, and he's also a very good actor, very consistent.
Kelly McGillis is kind of who rounds out the role. She's the main female character. She most known for this. She was also in Made in Heaven and Witness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Witness is a really good film
Witness.
too. Yeah, we're gonna in the future we'll do a thing like films that. Well, I can't say that wasn't a big film. That was a pretty good film.
Yeah, it's not. So the problem with the decade of the 1980s, especially now in like this era of nostalgia, is it tends to be boiled down to the top 10 movies.
Right.
People say the 80s, you think
like
Top Gun, the 80s,
yeah.
You think Top Gun, E.T., Goonies,
You don't
the
think
Star
of Witness,
Wars.
which was a sort of a quiet film, even though it had Harrison Ford. But that was a very good film too. I enjoyed
100%.
that. And there was a great. Do you remember the scene when they played "Don't Know Much About History"?
Yeah,
It was the first time you ever really saw Harrison Ford kind of like that, almost like letting loose a little bit. I remember. I thought that was appealing for him.
He's definitely a better when he's allowed to branch out instead of just playing versions of Indiana Jones or Han Solo. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But Top Gun mostly, honestly, kind of got its life out of and its legacy, not only from the pop culture, but also it was a propaganda film for the American Navy.
Mm-hmm.
There is a rumor as to like heavily inflated numbers of recruitment. I think the estimation is like it was an 8% increase, which again,
I'm sure there was an exaggeration, but I'm sure it was also a legit bump.
Sure. Yeah, there was one.
Young men, after they saw this, that's it. They wanted to do this.
As if you can do any of this.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but that why not? And you're gonna get the girl.
So the naval aviators that did the flying for the film, because they did use as much real footage as they could of the actual planes. A lot of the stunts that they were able to do in the film would have cost them their jobs in real life, or tons and tons of money in
for
fines.
sure. Yeah, would not have been accepted.
Yeah, it's a no.
They hit on that a little bit with some of the more blatant.
Yeah,
things.
Like buzzing the tower, which kind of gets Maverick a slap on the wrist.
Right, exactly.
Would have ended
which is
his
almost
career.
Comical, right? But it would have gotten him out of the military.
Right out of the Navy.
Yeah.
So this movie was backed by the Pentagon, and there was a big push for the look of this film. This is a Bruckheimer movie, which means it looks very orange.
Right.
And it's heavily defined by the soundtrack. So the Bruckheimer production also, their primary examples are Flashdance and Days of Thunder. Yeah. They have a flavor of movie. Yeah. And if you like that flavor, that's
like
great.
That film.
Yeah. And if you don't, then you're gonna have a hard watch.
Right. The soundtrack's definitely a big thing. Yeah.
Yes, Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins.
It's sort of, well, not quite, but a lot of those films were almost like MTV videos because you'd see so much of the film
in the
video. Actual music videos. Yeah, so sometimes it's hard to draw the line. You're like, wait, am I watching the film or the video?
And defining moments of the movie. Well, right now we're in 1986. This is the heart of montage cinema.
Yeah.
So a lot of these were intentionally designed to be clipped really well for music videos.
They really were. Yeah.
So you
can see that.
Major moments in the film are actually set to the big hits on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
So you have Danger Zone opens the film. You've got Playing with the Boys during the volleyball sequence. Right. You've got Take My Breath Away over the love scene.
Yeah.
It's very much played like that.
It really is. And a lot of the films in the 80s really were. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how influential. Kids today probably wouldn't understand that, like with MTV, but that's how influential it was at the time.
It was a big deal.
Because does MTV even show videos anymore? I don't even know if it does.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That said, the soundtrack is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite song on the soundtrack?
I do like Danger Zone.
Okay. Yeah. That's probably Dad's favorite.
Yeah.
I like Radar Radio. It plays for like 30 seconds in the background of a radio.
Yeah. I don't even remember that. No.
Nope.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to miss Danger Zone. But it kind of, to me, it summed up the feel of the film also,
Yeah. So we should talk about the story, I guess.
Such as it is.
Yeah. So the biggest problem that I have with the movie, honestly, is the plot and the fact that there is none until Act 3. It opens with Goose and Maverick getting this position into Top Gun, basically because the guy in line in front of them drops out because he has a too close call with a Russian plane. Yeah. And ends up bailing. That's the other thing I have a problem with, too. In 1986, I realized I wasn't alive. I know enough to know that they started World War III in this movie at least twice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They end up there. They end up pitted up immediately against Ice, played by Val Kilmer, and Slider, who immediately kind of make it off like it's going to be a rivalry. Like they're on the same team, they're both like for the same country,
Right.
but they're both really interested in having the top spot.
Right.
The difference is Maverick is really hot-blooded and it doesn't listen to instruction or correction very well at all. And Ice has his nickname because he flies ice cold, no mistakes.
Right. Right.
So you're up with a perfectionist up against somebody who's really flying very instinctually and sometimes, like they point out multiple times, dangerously.
Right.
Which
And that's really all you need for the plot.
That's
for most
it.
of the film.
That's
That really
it.
just drives it. You know, it's just a competition, and then you throw in a volleyball game or whatever. You know.
it does make
Or
me
a football
happy
game with the
that
other one.
those the volleyball scenes, the actors were so abysmal
Oh yeah.
at volleyball that most of those are not.
I read that. It's so funny to read that how it was like really choppily edited.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they just covered them with oil.
That's the only thing I think I can do better than Tom Cruise perhaps is play volleyball.
Yeah,
I think that might be
yeah.
the only thing I got him at.
Yeah, it's really kind of funny. Yeah, you don't really see anyone really playing volleyball well.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But you know, again, it's the magic of film, isn't it?
Mhm.
Like I kind of after I read that, I mean, not that I don't appreciate the magic of film, but
Sure.
it made me look at it again. Like, wow, you know, you edited something. You know,
You don't
like,
even think.
You don't even think, right?
Mhm.
You like that they could have just instead of Navy pilots, they could have been professional volleyball players, right?
It's just whiffing every single
yeah,
hit.
yeah.
Amazing.
It's so funny, yeah.
The other, there are two other subplots going on in this film. The one is Maverick is conflicted against the disappearance and probable death of his father,
Yeah.
who was also a naval aviator who
Right.
disappeared in a mission when he was a kid.
Right.
That's the more interesting story that I think should have gotten a little bit
And
more
they never really
payoff.
explore it much. No.
They go into it a little bit.
And then a little later at the end,
Yeah, and Tom Skerritt's
Tom
character
Skerritt explains what happened.
talks about it.
Yeah.
The other subplot, and probably the one I have the most trouble with, is the fact that Kelly McGillis's Charlie is his instructor. They start a relationship that is. Have you seen Attack of the Clones
I haven't.
in Star Wars? Okay, I don't have an analogy. Potentially, like one of the least.
Chemistry there?
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
In- They had to add in other scenes with
Yeah.
them just to like, oh yeah, this is still a movie. Like with
Yeah,
a
the
romance
most unlikely
subplot.
pairing.
There's nothing,
No, there really was nothing. And they put it in there specifically for that.
and it's
You know what I mean? Like they had to like, well, we can't just have all these guys this whole film.
and it's
So let's throw in a love interest, and
nothing.
there was no love interest whatsoever.
I can't, and like she's one thing, and then Meg Ryan, in my opinion, I'm not a Meg Ryan hater, but I don't love her either,
No,
and I
I'm not.
cannot stand her in this movie.
No, yeah.
She's Goose's wife, and I want to feel bad, and I can't.
And I could
stand
even
her.
believe that they were a couple more than
Yeah.
Tom Cruise and
Sure,
Kelly
Kelly
McGillis. I
McGillis,
could
sure.
believe that, but it didn't make me like her anymore.
No,
She was just really in there to be annoying, I think.
I
you
thought she
know?
was irritating.
And he was likable,
Goose is awesome.
very likable.
Goose
yeah.
is great.
So it makes you wonder. I don't know. That was bad casting,
That's one thing I will say.
or bad writing because she's
think
given
it's both.
lines, and I don't think it was.
It's not her fault.
If she was bubbly like normal Meg Ryan, maybe she would have been more likable.
A little bit more subdued, maybe would have been good
Yeah.
instead of whatever was happening.
Yeah. A character we didn't even need, honestly.
But while we're on the subject, Goose is great. Like Anthony Edwards brings real warmth
He
and
does,
likability
yeah.
to his character, and it's enough that he's encouraging to Mav. He's friends with Mav, but he's also not yes manning him. He is
No.
definitely there are moments where he's taking him aside. He's like, "You're getting us in trouble,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
need to stop."
Oh yeah, I'm not going to do this. Yeah,
Mhm.
whatever. Yeah, and surprisingly, his career film
Take
career
off.
didn't really take
Yeah.
off. Yeah, because he was definitely a likable character.
It's also interesting too, and they explore this more actually in the second film, where they go into the fact that like the consequences of Goose had a family, Maverick doesn't.
Right.
So the only life
So
Maverick's
he can be
affecting,
a bit of a maverick or more of a maverick,
Yeah.
right? Goose had more responsibilities.
Mhm. So that plays into it too. And when Goose does die,
It's also very sad because of
it is
that.
that's actually I think the most powerful scene in the movie because not only the way it's framed is so tragic, but also like the afterward wrestling with the fact that like his life's gone, Maverick has to keep going, and he knows that.
And he also feels guilty, and it's not 100% clear. And he's cleared of any charges,
Wrongdoing, yeah.
of wrongdoing, but it's not 100% clear to the audience that he's not guilty at all.
Yeah.
You know?
And that was based off of like actual incidents. The way it's shot in the film, the way it's presented is Maverick's plane goes through the
Vapor trail or-
the jet wash from
the jet wash.
ICE's
Right.
plane. Now there are a couple people have a couple different arguments. Some people say it's ICE's fault because he never took the shot and he was flying that.
Right.
Some people say it's Maverick's fault because he was basically tailing him that close, and he should have known better.
Right.
It's hard to say. And either way, like the Navy's call on it in the movie is it's no one's fault. It was a terrible accident.
Right.
Everyone's got to move on.
Right.
And he doesn't have time to stew in his feelings because after a certain period of time, all of a sudden they're sent out on an actual mission.
Right.
And
Against an enemy.
they need him to be on his A game.
Right.
So I also think it's a good choice. I think it was the right move to not have Maverick win the trophy at the end.
A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people forget that, but yeah, he didn't win.
No,
yeah.
Ice and Slider win.
Right.
And they win playing it by the rules and doing what they're supposed to do, and by being good pilots.
Right.
And that's aviators because they don't like pilot. But
and
it's deserved.
And so is the nickname Maverick. I mean, you see, because he doesn't want to play by the rules.
Yeah.
And even in Maverick, the sequel, he's still sort of the same way.
Yeah,
and
definitely more responsible.
They kind of highlight how he's missed out. Like, you're still this after all this time. He hasn't really advanced the way he should have because he is a Maverick. That's a very fitting nickname.
And the other thing too, most of your nicknames in that field, you get that from other people.
Right.
And they're never
choose that.
And it's never from doing anything cool. If you get a nickname from like in that position, it's because you did something dumb.
Right.
So
and that'll stick with you.
Yeah, that's usually where those nicknames come from. When you see it in the movies where they're cool, it's never because they're actually cool. Never.
Yeah. But again, the Maverick still fits that perfectly.
Sure,
right?
totally.
Whether it was bestowed upon him or he chose it, which he obviously didn't, but it is because he's a Maverick.
So the a couple like notable things, even behind the scenes for this. This was this was up against Iron Eagle, which is like one of those weird, crazy coincidences where two movies come out the same year.
We should do a thing on that one
about
time
the same
because
year.
there's a lot of films like that too. Yeah. And Iron Eagle, Louis Gossett Jr., Oscar winner, and I forget who else was in it. But
yeah, that was all I really cared about.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie in years.
Yeah, me neither.
It wasn't very good.
No, didn't. Even
How do you see Iron Eagle and not Top Gun?
I don't know. It's a mystery to me too.
That's crazy.
Maybe in spite of Top Gun, everyone going to see Top Gun. I say,
I'm gonna go see the worst one.
I'm gonna go see Iron Eagle.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but that wouldn't surprise me at that age. I probably would have done that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
This also had a bunch of instances where the actors had the opportunities to go up in the F-14s and actually fly.
Yeah.
A lot of people will point to this as like the beginner of Tom Cruise's stunt career.
Craze,
yeah.
And it's funny. I'm sure you've heard. It's pretty popular lore, whether it's true or not, but that Tom Cruise got the role because he threw up supposedly after being taken up there, and then accepted the role, said I want to do it.
That's the story I heard, and I believe I think you heard that from me.
Oh, is it? Yeah, but I did read it too. Also, it's in the lore for the film, but it also kind of makes sense.
It tracks.
I kind of believe it. Yeah, it tracks. Yeah.
Val Kilmer did not have any interest in going up in the planes or doing any training to stay in shape for the movie or anything whatsoever.
Which tells you his feelings about the film, because he's sort of a method actor and he would normally get so into the role.
It's crazy to me how he sleepwalked his way through this movie.
He really did.
And still
he played it like so cool, and he still was great. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But he's done that. He did it with Batman Forever too, and he just knocks it out of the park.
Right. Yeah.
The real the real push from this afterward, this movie became culture so quick. To the point where there was a fee a fine associated with quoting it, and then if you actually were in the Navy.
Oh wow.
The quotes were everywhere.
Yeah.
The
need for speed. Everybody was saying that.
Yeah. Aviators got big. Those sunglasses.
Oh yeah.
That got really popular.
Right.
Tom Cruise's career kicked off on a whole nother level, and
for sure.
the soundtrack has been dynamite for 40 years.
Yeah.
This movie stuck with people enough that it's been iconic this whole time.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty impressive legacy for a movie that is kind of not that much substance to it.
No. Well, again, I was never compelled to see it until this year, so yeah, it just didn't suck me in like so many others. So it must have done something right, or it was great marketing.
There's a charisma to the film.
Yeah.
And there's a charisma to the characters. Not even even the ones that I'm not crazy about, there's enough going on and enough the way that it's shot. The movie's kind of working enough magic that I'm still somehow sitting through it every time, even though it's not good.
I still think too, even the soundtrack, I really think that's and we've talked about this, and maybe one day we'll do something about this, Forrest Gump. I was one of those guys who I did see it because I got kind of swallowed up by the hype, and then I kind of was almost embarrassed And I think we'll discuss it some other time. But you know, people do they you know something. Everyone's saying you got to go see this movie, and it becomes almost like a cultural phenomenon, and you feel like, well, I don't want to be left out. I got to go check it out. I feel like Top Gun was. I lived through it. It was definitely like that year. Like that's why I resisted, because everyone was like, you got to go see this, and maybe because I was the same age as Tom Cruise, I was a little jealous, thinking like, you know, give this guy.
What's this kid doing?
I'm not going to give this guy any money.
That's
what am I doing with my life?
really funny.
Yeah. So that's why I would see Forrest Gump maybe. You know, I didn't.
Really?
Yeah, he's not a threat to me. Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump.
I don't know how much of a threat Tom Cruise is to you personally.
No, not really. In my head, you know. But although you know we've talked about my Tom Cruise connection, right?
We have, yes.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell it again?
Sure. Yeah. A guy I worked with. Was it around that same time? It might have been probably a little bit early. I'm not sure actually. I can't place the time frame right now, but he. Tom Cruise grew up. Well, he finished high school in Glen Ridge, New Jersey, and the guy I worked with, one of my first jobs, also went to school with Tom Cruise and wrestled with him, and beat him apparently.
Oh, really?
At wrestling, yeah. And this guy was the guy I was friends with was a big guy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so there you go. That's my connection. So I was like, well, what did he ever do after this?
Your friend or Tom Cruise?
No, Tom Cruise.
Oh,
I asked my friend. So what else? So what's he doing now?
Like nothing. I don't think he's doing anything.
Yeah.
Actually, you were late to both screenings, so you didn't see the trailer for Digger that's coming out later.
No.
Either this year. He's with Christopher McQuarrie again. I think it's a comedy. Looks like he's doing something different.
Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
It's called Digger?
Yeah.
Wow. No. Doesn't even sound like a Tom Cruise film title.
That's what I thought. But I'm curious to see what that's gonna be.
Well, he's at the point in the age where you just do what he wants. Do it, you know.
He has been.
What he enjoys. I know he has been. I know. And he's been very successful doing that.
What's strange to me, when this isn't exactly this isn't a Top Gun Maverick review, but in a world where the second one exists, the first one is elevated, in my opinion, by the existence of the sequel, which is not something I say very often, especially not about movies where the sequels are separated by 30 years.
Right.
They make very smart decisions with the second movie by taking the tracks laid by the first one and laying on enough trimming that the first one gains substance in hindsight.
Yeah.
Which is impressive work.
Right.
I think the screenwriting and the acting present in the second film, especially by the actors who returned to roles, is really impressive work, and gives the first one more depth than it would have earned on its own. I think there would have come a time eventually where people looked at the first Top Gun and went, "This is fun, but it's not that great."
Right.
I think the existence of the second one elevates
That's
it.
a good point. Very good point. I think you're right, and I think it even you know what's interesting is you can even see Tom Cruise's growth as an actor.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and his acting was very good in the second one. He's given more opportunity to act too.
He has moments in the first one. After Goose dies, he has a couple moments where he's clearly wrestling, and
he has a spoiler.
Yeah.
But you know, as in real life, Val Kilmer dies in the second one.
Yeah.
And he has a moment like that too. You know, and it was very touching.
Yeah, it's impressive growth. But again,
and for Tom Cruise, you don't expect that. Yeah, I don't. Seeing a Tom Cruise film, I don't expect to get choked up at a Tom Cruise film.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
But and it didn't in this one either. But I could see where people would.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
the first time I saw it, I don't remember if I did when Goose died. I think I knew he did. Because that's another thing. It's such a cultural thing. That's almost like a non-spoiler.
Right.
It's like everybody knows that in this one. Yeah. So I think in a way that was one of those, like, the shock was removed some by the fact that I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But that doesn't, in hindsight, that doesn't render the acting or editing of the scene any worse. It's still really well done.
Yeah.
And the visuals of this film are really good as well.
Yeah.
My dad
put you right there.
My dad had a lot of thoughts on the use of the aircraft carrier and the use of the planes themselves, the F-14s.
Right.
But it's an arresting opening.
Yeah, and for people who don't know,
sure, they're not going to
pretty
question
much everyone except your father.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has no bearing. You know, to me, I was like, wow. And the only thing I did mention, and I think at the time, was that it was kind of hard to keep track of everybody.
I can see that.
I think in the second film, Top Gun Maverick, I think it was more obvious. I think they had their nicknames on something.
They do in the first one too.
Did they too? Yeah, but for some reason I didn't key on that, or I didn't see it, or it wasn't as obvious.
I think that's why they have so many shots of them with their masks off, because in real life you would that's a no-go too.
Yeah, right. You wouldn't, right? But otherwise, how would you know?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So a little bit of confusion there, but it was still enjoyable, obviously.
Actually, I thought it was really entertaining because a lot of they had only a few minutes of footage that they could get in those F-14s. You know, they can only get 6 minutes of footage per flight. Their problem was a lot of the in-cockpit footage was unusable, and almost all of it ended up chucked after all that work and all that effort because so much of the cast was nauseous the entire time that they were doing it.
I've heard that, yeah.
So I think Anthony Edwards is the only one who wasn't sick.
Yeah, I think I read that too, which is interesting.
So after all that work for the sake of realism, they ended up actually using most of it in like simulated cockpits with like green and blue screens, which is primarily what you would see used in most films. And I think it's interesting that, like, when they did Top Gun Maverick, they did as much work as possible to make sure that those were actors in the cockpits of planes as much as they could.
Right. Interesting.
With that said, though, unless you know that,
you wouldn't know.
No.
Right. I agree, and I didn't know it.
The footage that they do use is really good. It has the same pitfalls that any military movie does, where there's just stuff that's happening that's an absolute, like, there's no way.
Yeah. But... You know, I don't have a problem with that.
Sure.
Like, and I am sort of a stickler, right? But I'm very good at separating, you know, if I go to a movie, unless there's certain movies where I'm less generous with that. You know, if it's like a true story, a biopic or something, and it's really far out. But if it's a film like this, which to me is a popcorn film, I'm not going to be real strict.
Now, see, I forgave this of almost everything. An Officer and a Gentleman, I don't give an inch. I hate that movie.
Oh, really?
I hate that movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen that since the 80s, and I did like it at the time. But that was very similar, too, because it also had the great soundtrack and, you know,
and it's naval
touching
aviators.
moments, right? Naval aviators. I liked Richard Gere in it at the time.
Oh, you do?
At the time? Yeah, I did, yeah. Well, I hadn't seen him in much, and, well, that's another film for another time. But and again, Louis Gossett Jr., I did.
He's great. No, I will give you that. He's great.
Yeah. And I also kind of liked some of the smaller players in that. Like, I don't know if it's David Keith or Keith David. I always confuse him because
it's not Keith David.
Yeah, so it's David Keith.
Yeah.
He was great in that. I don't know if you remember his role. He's another small actor, very, you know, more of a bit part player. But I liked him in a few films I've seen him in. I always enjoyed his role, his acting. But anyway, that's a different film.
What are you, so I know, like, we did actually, like, establish you are glad that you saw it.
Yeah.
In hindsight.
Yeah, no, I am. I'm glad too. And I saw Maverick the week after. So,
yeah.
Yeah, saw them both.
Which do you think is better?
Well, you know, it's funny with sequels. I always feel like I have to lean toward the first one because without that you wouldn't have the second one. I think the acting was better in the second one. Maybe all the way around. It's hard to say. Plus, it was Val Kilmer. Last film, so
he was great.
That was tough, yeah. That was sad. I probably was more emotional at the second one because of Val Kilmer. I don't know. It'd be really hard to choose. I would probably go toward the first one only because it sets everything in motion.
I think the second one's better by an arm and a leg.
Yeah, I know a lot of people feel that way, and I think critics felt that way.
Yeah. And again, nothing against it. Like, it's a fun watch. I've seen this movie 7 or 8 times.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Maverick?
Top Gun.
The first one. Okay.
I saw it for the first time when I was in college.
Wow. I just saw it for my first time.
That's crazy. That would have been, it was 5 years ago. It was the first time I actually saw it. And I'd seen Tom Cruise movies before. I'd seen everything else in his 80s catalog except that, I think.
Yeah.
That one and The Color of Money, I hadn't seen. That and maybe Cocktail. Right. But I'd seen Rain Man, I'd seen The Outsiders, I'd seen all that movies. I'd seen a lot of his stuff. That was the first movie where I went, I get it. Okay, I get what was a big deal about this guy.
Wow.
It was also the first movie where I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he was good looking. And Dad wishes that never happened either. But since then, that's on like a regular rewatch for me because it's a movie that I genuinely you can sit down and just enjoy it and get up and it's like, okay, that was fun. We'll do that again.
Yeah.
It's a popcorn movie.
It is filmed well, like you said. Even with Tom Cruise, I remember in that film, I don't even remember. Does he have blue eyes? I don't know, but
I have no idea.
But I remember the way
no
they.
idea.
I don't think so. But anyway, the way they filmed his eyes, even in certain scenes, just the lighting, like really film. You can make anybody almost look like an Adonis,
Yeah.
Or the women look amazing.
Yeah, they're working hard on that movie.
Yeah, they really are, and it's '86, so it's we've come a long way since then.
100%.
But it is beautifully filmed. The colors, everything. It's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Even just moments when he's on his motorcycle alone.
Yeah.
And you see the sky in the background. Those are great scenes. Again, you don't even pay attention to that. It's blink and it's gone.
And because it is such a soundtrack film, it gets a lot of mileage out of dialogue, less scenes.
It does, yeah, because you play the soundtrack over that, and that's all you need. It can be, and that alone can make it very powerful, depending on the song you choose.
Actually, I think that's
and
where
shows well.
Most of the film's strongest moments are, aside
Soundtrack
from
driven.
The scenes where people aren't talking that much, honestly.
Yeah.
Because the scenes with the most dialogue are usually like mission briefings or debriefings, or
they start to nod off even.
They're in the air.
Right.
The scenes where I'm like, okay, that's really good is like when he's racing with a motorcycle, and the other moment is at the end. And I don't like the choice to toss Goose's dog eggs in the ocean.
Yeah.
But I like what they're going for.
Yeah.
It's a powerful scene, and it's shot well and edited really well. It's just not my personal.
Right.
Wouldn't have been the move for me.
No, I agree. Yeah.
But I do think it, in terms of like the 1980s as a decade, this definitely landed at it was like a bolt of lightning, right place, right time.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it? How it can do that? Mm-hmm. Just set you for a whole career.
Yeah, there was no shortage of those in that decade for a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think that this might be Tom Cruise's defining role. I think this might be his defining movie if you look at his whole career. It's this or maybe Mission Impossible.
Is it the only one? Oh, no, I was going to say it's the only one he's done a sequel to, but obviously Mission Impossible is going on forever.
And
so he's not against sequels, although he didn't want to do a sequel to this one for years.
He held on to this. I think he might have done sequels for Jack Reacher. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Definitely Mission Impossible.
Yeah, there's been like 8 or 8.
Yeah, I don't even know anymore.
Val Kilmer's career-defining roles would come in the future.
Right. Yeah, it's funny, again, watching this film at the time, well, I mean, at the time, if I was watching it in 86, I wouldn't have known how big of an actor Val Kilmer would become.
Yeah.
And he was more of a serious actor, obviously,
But it's weird, because the movies that he'd done before that don't reflect that at all.
No, not at all.
Even the one right after, because he did Willow in 88.
Oh, you're talking about Tom Cruise, right. I was talking about Val Kilmer.
I went, Willow is Val Kilmer.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I was thinking Legends. Yeah, you're right. For some reason, it's funny. They both did films like that.
Yeah,
too, right.
Willow
I didn't
is.
Even think of that.
I can't even tell which one. I can't even tell you which one's better. They're both
I know.
special.
Yeah.
But Val Kilmer.
But before that, he was also Top Secret and
Real Genius.
Real Genius, which I also really enjoyed.
Yeah, but they're definitely not like
Val Kilmer. You wouldn't think this guy's going to be nominated for an Academy Award one day.
Val Kilmer, serious actor.
Yeah.
That stuff came in the 90s.
Although you also see he's really talented.
He is very talented.
Because he did comedy well. He did the singing really well.
He was the youngest graduate of Juilliard when he went. When he graduated, he was very, very talented.
Yeah.
And it showed.
Crazy,
really quick.
Yeah, very quick. It's funny after knowing how good he's become. For those who haven't seen Top Secret or Real Genius, they're definitely worth watching.
Oh yeah,
and they're good movies.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, and just seeing him in such a different role, he was great in it. I loved even just a real quick line where he says like to the one guy, I think it was in Real Genius, he says, "Okay, let's just take a step back. Okay, let's take a step forward.
Yes,
let's take another step back. Yeah, and then you put your life, whatever, do the hokey pokey. Yeah, it was very funny. Yeah."
Top Secret is one of my favorite comedies ever, and he's a big part of it.
I know. He was great in both of those. Yeah, they're little hidden gems.
But he's bordering on humorless in Top Gun. Which is so funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think this is. I would not put this in a top 10 of the 80s movies.
No, obviously I wouldn't have, because I would have seen it way before now.
Mm-hmm. And I even think because it leads a lot of lists. Usually
it does. Yeah.
So I do think that while this is one of the most influential films,
right? It might be one of the more influential films from the 80s.
And it's definitely one of the ones I revisit the most, because besides the Star Wars films, Indiana Jones, and Back to the Future, this is the one from that decade I come back to the most.
Really?
And I know it's not. I like it. I think E.T. is a better movie than this, but I come back to this more often.
I would have chosen Indiana Jones for sure, and what was the other one you just said there?
Back to the Future.
Oh, Back to the Future too, yeah. Because those I did see at the time.
Yeah.
And this obviously I didn't see until its 40th anniversary. So.
But I do think that I think we have highlighted it. You know, as fun as this movie is to pick on, because it is fun to pick on, there is a craftsmanship to this
There
film.
definitely
It's
is.
not.
We mentioned some of the scenes.
Yeah, it's not a throwaway. There definitely is talent and effort in this movie. There's a reason it's still a big deal.
There is, even just because somebody chose that soundtrack, those songs. Everything was a choice, and they did a really good job.
Yeah. So I think that while it can be really easy to kind of poke at some of the stuff that doesn't hold up quite so well.
Yeah.
I think overall I think overall it does deserve at least a good chunk of the attention it's gotten since release.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have a problem with that.
I'm glad you finally saw it.
So am I. Just a couple. We'll talk about a couple other little things anyway. I thought were funny. Tom Cruise. I didn't realize he's only 5'7".
Mm-hmm.
I've heard jokes about his height, but I didn't realize. And then you wonder, is it even an exaggeration? Like a lot of times guys will.
I don't
maybe
think that's an exaggeration.
No, but
he looks 5'7"-ish.
He does, but I wonder if he's 5'6.5", and he just said I'm just 5'6¾". So he wouldn't. He's like the perfect height to be a Top Gun pilot, which was funny. And Tim Robbins, who's also in this film, I'm sure he has a couple lines, but you barely see him.
Yeah.
But you do see him because he's 6'5" and he towers over everyone else in every scene. He would not be able to be a Top Gun pilot, whether he has the talent or not. He's just too tall.
I think Rick Rossovich is also.
I think he's also tall, right?
Over 6 foot.
Yeah, I think 6'1", 6'2", right? So he would also not have been. And Tom Cruise, Kelly McGillis is 5'10", so he had to wear lips in certain scenes where he's with her, which is kind of funny. Yeah. A couple other things I thought were interesting. An original draft of the script specified that the final showdown involved North Korean aircraft. Really? Yeah. And I was thinking Russian, because that was kind of popular at the time.
That's what they say, though, because they say MiGs, it's Russian.
But they said MiGs, right, exactly, yeah. But other than specifying MiGs, the final script never really mentioned anything about nationalities. They dropped off the North Korean thing, which would have fit. And James Tolkien, we mentioned, his character is referred to as Stinger in the credits, but he's never addressed as anything other than Sir in the film. Which is funny. I guess as an afterthought, they thought they had to give him some kind of a name. This was interesting. There's a lot of, we can go over to cast. Obviously, Tom Cruise was Maverick, Goose. But what was interesting, I thought, Hollywood was played by Whip Hubley. And, it's just a name that caught my attention because
it's a weird name.
Hubley is kind of a cool name. And he's the only person I know of who can actually say that he was the brother-in-law of Kurt Russell, which is kind of funny, right? Yeah, because Kurt Russell has been with Goldie Hawn for
40 years.
40 years plus, probably, right? And he was only married once to Season Hubley. And Whip Hubley is Season Hubley's brother.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting, I thought. So I was looking at the credits, and looking at the cast. And you had Barry Tubb, Rick Rossovich, we talked about. His brother was Tim Rossovich, who played for the Philadelphia Eagles football, NFL.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was a famous player, and I liked him. And then you had Adrian Pastar, we mentioned. Tim Robbins, we mentioned. James Tolkien. Michael Ironside, you did mention.
Did you talk about, I lost his name. He was in Christine. Help me. Timothy Hutton? No, that's the wrong person.
Yeah, not Timothy Hutton.
I can do this.
John Stockwell?
Yes.
I didn't mention him. No, but he's also was in there too, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of, and he played a character named Cougar. They all had their
call signs.
Yeah. So if you look at the cast at the end as it was going by, I was like, wait, all these are names that were famous or became famous. You know what I mean at the time? Because I remember when we saw it at the movie theater, I was like, oh wait, yeah, he was in this too. I didn't even realize. A lot of famous people who would become famous later on too, or who were sort of well known at the time. Just smaller roles, but it's a good cast.
It is a pretty stacked cast.
It is, yeah. And compared to Maverick, the sequel, there's really nobody in that film other than the main people you know.
I don't know. So
because it does have John Hamm.
I think too also depends on your generation, because I will say
did you know? I didn't know anybody in
when Top Gun Maverick came out, Glenn Powell, who was in that, got big really quick.
Oh right, yeah. I saw his name and I looked him up because I don't know him, but I said, oh, he looks familiar. Yeah,
he was in Twisters. He was in.
And I did see Twisters.
He was in a rom-com a couple years ago. Anyone But You, maybe. Yeah. And he was just in the Running Man remake.
Oh right, which I didn't see.
And I feel like he's in one or two other projects coming out.
Yeah. So. But to me, anyway, for someone my
sure,
I didn't really see anybody in the
Miles Teller.
I do like
had
Miles
been
Teller.
big,
Right.
And one or two members of the cast have kind of moved on onto bigger projects. One of the guys who plays, I want to say the one who plays Coyote, it's Greg Tarzan. I can't remember his last name.
I don't remember his
He's
name
in the
either.
Mission Impossible, the last two.
Oh, really?
And Lewis Pullman is Bill Pullman's son.
Oh, right.
He's
I did write that down.
He's starting to get big.
Yeah, he's gonna get big. Yeah, he's Bill Pullman's son, right? Which I thought was interesting.
So I think I just think that Top Gun Maverick is.
Oh, and Ed Harris was also in the
is
Maverick.
potentially just the Top Gun of its time, and that this is a bunch of really talented people that
Yeah,
are going to
who
get really
may
big.
be really big. You're right. That's a good point. Yeah, because they weren't big to me, but you're pointing out that you know them. And what was his name?
Can't help you.
The guy you just mentioned, Miles
Teller.
Miles Teller.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Whiplash, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that was a great film. And he's also very, I don't know if he's a method actor or what, but he played a lot of the drums in the movie Whiplash.
Oh, really?
I recommend that film anyway. It's very intense. And he's obviously a very serious actor.
Yeah, he's been in a couple big projects. He was in, recently, he was in Eternity and the Gorge. That was just last year. He was in Michael this year, apparently.
Okay, yeah.
And he was in the
really?
Fantastic Four from like 10 years ago.
Really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
And he's been in stuff.
Was it say Whiplash?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's in
Yeah.
Whiplash.
Yeah, that's a really good film. What's his name is in it also?
I don't.
Draw a blank, but you know him because he played. Oh my gosh, I can't even think of his name anymore either.
What movie are you thinking?
Spider-Man. He plays the boss.
J.K. Simmons?
Yeah,
Let's
J.K.
go.
Simmons. I couldn't think of his name. I was going to say, I know those initials. J.K. Simmons. Yeah, he's great. He plays like the really, really strict musical director, and he just pushes Miles Teller to the limit. But it's a really intense
I
film.
have to put it on the list.
Yeah, definitely worth watching. Whiplash, good movie. So I wouldn't know any of the. But I'm looking at the cast from '86. I'm like, wow, all these people are well known. But people today are looking at the cast from today and saying, wow, all these people are well known, or soon will be. It's interesting.
Oh, and Maverick too. Jennifer Connelly.
Oh, right. Oh, you know what I was going to tell you? It's just funny. For those who don't know Jennifer Connelly, she's been in a lot of films. But Maverick, Tom Cruise, and Jennifer Connelly, did you know that they were the design for Jasmine and Aladdin?
I did know that.
Did you know
I
that?
did. Well, I knew that Tom Cruise was the basis for Aladdin. I did not know she was the basis for Jasmine.
I was surprised because I didn't think she was that big, but I did look into that. And I said, wow, she was actually the model.
That's
for,
interesting.
Yeah, the Disney film. Another thing I wanted to point out, too, which I thought was interesting. Matthew Modine, you know him.
Yes.
Linda Fiorentino, Oliver Stone, Bryan Adams. They all turned down various offers to contribute to this film because they thought the film glorified war. It's kind of funny because it really doesn't, I didn't think, anyway.
It's a military propaganda film.
I guess, but I didn't think it glorified war. I mean, they didn't make it seem like, hey, this is fun, let's do it. But they turned down, I mean, Oliver Stone obviously had a chance to direct it, he turned it down. Bryan Adams could have done a soundtrack.
I can definitely see Oliver Stone turning this
I
down.
can too, yeah. Bryan Adams didn't even want to do a soundtrack song for it. Like, it's kind of silly. So,
well, people like to stick by what they think.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
And I do know that they wanted to use some Bruce Springsteen's "Born in the USA."
Oh, I heard that
in this
also.
too.
Right.
And I cannot imagine that would have been such a bad fit.
Even over the ending credits, I would have been like, oh no.
No, yeah, it would have been bad.
That would have really been bad. And again, I think it's a misunderstanding too, because that film,
that song
is not really a patriotic song.
No.
It's
not. Yeah.
They just look at the title and they're like, "Oh, that sounds good."
That's
Let's
what
put
happened
that in
a lot.
Here. Right, it does. Yeah.
So, actors who were considered for Maverick included Matthew Modine, who you mentioned.
Yeah.
They also looked at RDJ, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh. Well, he probably could have pulled it off too, because I think he is that good of an actor.
They looked at Sean Penn, Eric Stoltz, Kevin Bacon, and Emilio Estevez, among others, were potentials.
Yeah, well, all good choices, all big at that time.
I don't know how some of them would have gone. I'm glad that this is one of those movies where it's like I really can't.
I'm glad they went with who they went with. Yeah, I am
casting.
Too. Right,
they picked the right people.
I think he fits that role the best. Mm-hmm. Although again, Robert Downey Jr. doesn't fit that role, but he might have pulled it off. I don't know.
Honestly, with his career now, I could definitely see that. And actually, Tom Cruise was on. I've heard his name mentioned multiple times as people who were considered for the role of Iron Man.
Oh, really?
When Robert Downey Jr. took it in 2008. So.
Yeah, because I never would have thought Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man either, really.
But he's
another guy.
Yeah.
He's a chameleon.
It's been a long time. So it's been almost 20 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you never know.
Yeah.
What was your favorite scene from Top Gun?
Favorite scene? Probably really the ending, when
The mission?
Yeah, with the mission. Yeah, that was exciting. I mean, that's what it all builds to,
Yeah.
And you finally get to see it, actually happening,
Yeah.
put to the test. I enjoyed it. I thought it was well filmed, and I thought it had just the right amount of tension. And honestly, I can tell you, I felt the same way with Top Gun Maverick. I felt the same way.
Really?
All building to that mission, and a couple twists where things didn't quite go as you thought they were going to go, or I thought they were going to go. And then, but still, all pulling together at the end for a good ending.
My favorite scene in the sequel is the conversation with Ice.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of surprised it's not yours.
No, you're right. I guess on second thought, it probably would have been. That was very pivotal.
But for the first film,
that almost seemed out of the film, didn't it? It seemed like Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer.
I don't know. I know that
final moment together.
I know that there was a big push to make sure Val Kilmer could be in the project.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they were able to.
I know. And I don't know how they really got along over the years since Top Gun. I've heard that they were friends.
I've heard that the rivalry that they had in the first one was heavily exaggerated.
Yeah.
And that they really didn't have any problem with each other.
Right. And I heard that Tom Cruise really wanted him in this film, and I think that it shows. I think it looks very sincere. Their scene, even when they hug.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very touching scene. And I heard afterwards Tom Cruise, of course, really praising him.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
It seems genuine.
The first film, if I had a favorite scene, like in my unserious moments, I say that the volleyball scene is my favorite because it's just fun and goofy. And
it is goofy,
I do recreationally play volleyball, and so I know what they're trying to
accomplish.
They're not
very good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, like for a favorite scene, it's really hard. I actually do like the beginning when Maverick goes back for Cougar, because it is a defining sequence.
Very opening sequence, yeah.
Because you get two things at once about this guy. You know he's not going to play by the rules, but you also know he cares deeply about the people around him.
Right, yeah.
And
those was a good way to frame that.
Yeah.
It was.
And those two things end up butting heads with each other the entire
rest
of the film.
And in real life they do. Sometimes you can't play by the rules, especially in war or combat situations.
But sometimes not doing that also puts people that you care about in danger.
It can, right? And that's what does happen.
Yeah. So I do think that it was a really effective way to introduce you to this guy and the way that he operates really quickly.
Right.
With that said, it's my favorite character is Maverick in both films. And when the first couple times I watched him, I'm like, I do not like this guy. Like, I loved the movie. I'm like, it's fun. Right. But I'm like, he is a loose cannon.
Yeah.
On repeat,
I think you're not really supposed to like him initially, anyway.
On repeat viewings, I've gotten a little bit kinder to him. Yeah. Partially knowing how young he was, how young fighter pilots are.
Right. Also, maybe knowing how it ends.
That too, and the knowledge that he will grow from these early moments. Right. But the seeds of what a good...
Not much, though, like I said, because in the second film, you also realize he's been passed over a lot. So he's still the Maverick.
But even in the beginning of the film, like I said, I do think they sow the seeds of what a good guy he actually is.
Yeah. And he does really care. Because, again, even in the second one, he's older. He's going to take a risk to help the people. Even in that film, he doesn't even really know that well.
Yeah. No, I do think he's a solid character.
And
it's good character work.
It's a great character.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise or not, Pete Mitchell, Maverick, is a great character.
Yeah.
A good film character. Because he is complex. And ultimately, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Was he your favorite too?
Yeah.
Okay. Goose is a close second.
Yeah. Because
Goose is also great.
Yeah, I would agree. And then, of course, Ice is up there just because it's Val Kilmer.
He kind of gets...
And I also like that, I like I said, when I first saw the film, not that long ago, I thought he was going to be sort of an antagonist, to Maverick. And I like that they didn't make him sort of a comic book character,
It would have been really easy to slide this film
really
sideways.
Yeah, it would have been. And to just have him, like I said, even sabotaging things, like just really going against. But he did what was best for the mission and for the team,
Yeah, it was a really solid turn from all parties. So
yeah, and all the acting was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't a false note, I don't think.
Except Meg Ryan.
Oh, well, maybe she was told to act that way. It was good because I didn't like her, but I mean...
I don't forgive her.
No, you're right. Yeah, and that's a character we could have done without. They could have just had him married, maybe not even showing his wife, Maybe show her with the kids.
Yeah, you would have lost something.
You would have lost
when
something
you,
too, I guess. Yeah,
so-
especially because even after he dies and they show her again. you
Yeah,
know.
that she's fine in that.
That was a good
scene,
scene,
she's
right?
good.
I wish she was a little more subdued like that through the rest of the film.
Yeah.
Maybe they should have killed Goose earlier.
How dare you?
I know. I took a chance. I said it. I know.
That's crazy.
Just to get her to be a little bit more likable.
So I don't know what our next project is going to be. I don't know. We're gonna have to talk about what we're gonna do
Yeah.
next, because this was a month in the waiting.
I know.
Because
A lot of stuff going on.
weird things happening.
Yeah. But if anyone has suggestions, they're always welcome.
Absolutely. If there's anything you want us to talk about, go ahead and drop a comment. We're always looking to check out new movies and to talk about stuff. So thanks so much for listening and for checking us out. If you liked it, go ahead and continue listening. Give us a follow, and we're gonna be back at some point in the future with the next movie.
Yeah.
So until then, we'll see you guys.